Okay, so my name is Evan Strong, and I make videos like this, content freely for people to understand the things within the lacing of our shoes, the tying of our shoes, and the things within all of our clothing in modern 2024. Today's the 12th of September 2024. Things that alter our body's natural functions, their natural center lines, their natural balance, their natural strength. And I show little modifications within clothing you already have on how to just allow your body to function normally. And I will be designing clothing to allow that to happen. My prerequisites are always the same. I usually start my videos with them, and that is my shoe lacing technique, which you can find within my content. All that does is allow the shoe that you have to fit like a glove would on the hand, to just allow all of the natural functionality to be within the foot. And then that includes tying the shoes evenly over toward the inside to reinforce internal rotation, traveling up evenly through the entire body. Pairing that with removing the tags from the tongues of your shoes, stemming up from there, up through all of the clothing you ever wear. And those are things you must do just to allow the body to have a chance to function normally in its natural workings. We are all universally designed in the image of our living God, who is Jesus Christ. And that is how I can speak for people all over the globe, because it is the clothing causing our bodies to be in these positions and these chronic external rotations, and it is not the body's fault. Structurally, skeletal system wise, us as human beings are all designed the same, and we're designed to work and function. The clothing pulls us out of those natural functioning positions. So what I'm going to do is a side flip tutorial. Now, it's very important to mention, I haven't even done one in a very long time. Many months. So we're just going to do it, okay? So where your clothing should sit is up off of your hips. The front of the waistband of your pants should be slightly higher than the rear. Your shoulder seams on the tops need to sit behind your shoulders, and they should not go any farther than the edges of your shoulders. And that will just allow all the natural pivots and functions of your body. Allow even internal rotation, again stemming from my shoelacing technique. That is a must. That is a must. So I make bold claims how we should not have to stretch, and we should not be working out or exercising just for the sake of exercise. Our body should just function because it's about the skeletal system's positioning. Okay, so prerequisites, because I'm not going to do much about explanation on where to try to place your body necessarily in this, because again, the body just has its position it works in, and we can't tell it how to do something. That goes for I or any other human. And so it's just about getting the body to its natural function, and then from there I'll describe the flip. So when you're going to do a side flip on the ground, one of these, I'm not going to do it right just yet, but one of these kind of side flips where you step in and you kind of lightly punch into it, right? The big thing with any kind of flip where you hear the word punch, right? When you hear like a punch flip versus like a swing flip, right? When you're doing a punch, it does not mean to just slam the ground. When we say punch, we meaning I or anybody else ever teaching a flip or doing a flip in any kind of place on the globe, when you punch, it just means usually both feet are going at the same time. But the punch should be very light. As I always describe, the natural internal rotation on the outsides of the balls of your feet. When you go for the punch, listen to it and watch how light. I'm just gonna do like the punch so you can see what I mean by punch. Not a hit, but like an explosive, pretty light takeoff. Like, so this was what I would be describing when I say punch. Okay? It's like you are hitting at the same time, but you want to keep it light. You want to keep those heels off of the ground in a natural internal rotation and lightly punch, quote unquote, right? So when you're going to do a side flip, you want to just stay, again, it's not about anything conscious. I always say we should never be conscious of what we're trying to get our bodies to do, because they just do it. They breathe on their own, they pump blood on their own, they heal themselves. The body just does its thing without being restricted. So just stay in a natural open position on the arches, outsides of your feet, in internal rotation, which again, don't be conscious, but just don't try to adjust for the flip. It's kind of on that end rather than what people might be saying. And when you come into the flip, you're gonna want your feet slightly in front of you. You'll take just a few steps. In any kind of flip tutorial, I always talk about the speed is not what's important. You don't want to sprint in thinking that's going to get you like height. It's about keeping the momentum, traveling through the entirety of the movement, and having the body, again, work as a whole. Everything work as one, naturally as it would, and then it can recruit everything together to accomplish the flip. So you'll take just a few steps in, and you'll place your feet slightly in front of you. So the run-up would look something like this. Okay? My feet go slightly in front of me, staying open and internal, right? As you see how I pointed like that. Internal, slightly in front, and lightly punch. This right arm, if you're going right, this will just be reversed for if you're going left. The right arm will lead, and as you're jumping and exploding out of that light punch, this arm will go at the same time, kind of reaching, as if you're like tucking something into a basket, like this. It's like up and around. And as you take off, you'll kind of take this arm up and this arm around. Because again, it's just internal rotation, right? You step in and internal, like tucking in. I always show like a hollowing is internal rotation. Like you see my feet? That kind of position. Takeoff will look similar. And then once you get into the air, you're hollowing in, bringing everything into internal rotation and wrapping. Once you get into the air, this arm that's bringing like this side of the body up will then grab here to tuck. This arm, as it comes around, once this leg is fully jumped, it'll come up and tuck, okay? And that's pretty much all you need to know. I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna take just a second to breathe because I was talking while I was doing all that. I'm gonna do one and then I'll probably describe a little bit more after. So again, just a few steps in, pretty light, explosive punch, the entire body as a whole, and then as I mentioned, the arms go same time as the legs, wrapping around, internal, and tuck, okay? I also haven't eaten or drank anything today, so I'm just gonna do one. Here we go. So notice I'm not going to like run into it like a sprint. Just a few good steps, get some momentum, and keep that momentum traveling through the entirety of the flip, the whole body working as one. All right. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm gonna take just a second and relax because this is how my gainer tutorial went too. I'm fine with it, but it's just funny. I haven't done these flips in a long time, but I know how to do them and I'm describing them through it, but it ends up kind of like that. But I love it because what I love about it is the authenticity of it and the relatability. That's what I was mentioning in even my Webster tutorial. I did some really good flips in there, but some of them were pretty rough. And I was mentioning how, again, it's relatable because some of your first side flips might look very, very, very similar to that. It wasn't so bad, but it actually kind of did hurt. I normally don't like lay down like this after something like that. I'm going to do at least one more for the video. But I love that, because that's what I always talk about within anything I'm saying. All my bold claims, they're not opinions, it's just truth. When I'm making a tutorial, it's not like I'm pretending to be the best at something. It's just, hey, let's be real about this, and I might fall too, you know? All right. So, same thing, although this time we'll land it. I think one of the big points is just staying open, because in a side, oh, you know what? Look where that sun is. I'm flipping, directly staring into the sun mid-flip. I'm gonna flip around, literally go the other direction is what I mean. I'm going to do no, I don't know. I'm gonna go somewhere where the sun's not gonna be shining directly in my eyes. But, yeah. So you step in lightly, stay open, light takeoff, everything as one. Tuck, and then as you come around, you should stay in an internal rotation position. So where you saw I fell, but I was still internal enough to where I caught myself. It kind of hurt, like I said, but yeah, I'm gonna land one. I'm not going to stare into the sun this time. All right. Yes. So light run up. Speed's not the thing. Momentum carried through the movement is the thing. Keep it fluid, keep it internal, stay open, like a hollowing. I've mentioned it before. It's as if you're getting punched in like the chest and you're hollowing in. That's the kind of internal rotation I'm talking about within, especially a flip. That's what your tuck will look like, is opening into like a hollowing from the chest, like that. All right, I'll land one and you'll get to see. When I say don't run, I mean, you can get a pretty decent amount of speed, but you just don't want to feel like you're sprinting into it, because then it also takes away from the naturalness of the takeoff, because you're sprinting and then stopping, right? So it's just a fluidity through the whole thing. All right, here we go. Oh, darn it. Not darn it in a bad way, but just that hurts, dude. My body's also still going through adjustment because of the clothing, right? And you can see that actually within my content. I started making videos like this just within a couple months back. You can see how much my body has actually changed, again, just through the clothing. But okay, I know that most people would not do this, but I'm gonna call that a good tutorial as far as I'm leaving this how it is. Because even though I didn't land it, I'm not really like a parkour teacher. I am a body mechanics through the avenue of clothing expert, really. I mean, I don't want to be self-proclaimed, but I truly am an expert on, that's, you know, not that you have to put a title. What I mean is, I understand the relationship between clothing and the natural workings of the human body better than possibly anybody on the face of the earth in 2024. And just because I've really delved into it. So with that being said, this is going to be how this tutorial goes. You can get from it what you will get from it. Just because I didn't land them, again, it's just kind of like a raw, vulnerable kind of, hey, I'm in it with you. If we're trying to learn how to do a side flip, it's as if I'm trying to learn also, except I've done a lot of side flips years back, and it's about positioning within the body. So anyway, with all that being said, I'm going to be designing clothing, minimal 100% natural material clothing designed by me, Evan Strong, with my understanding and knowledge that I have tens of hours of dialogue, me describing the natural functionings and workings of the human body. I'm going to take all that into consideration within my designs in clothing to allow it to sit where it needs to on the body, those places I mentioned there before the flips. Yes, so again, I don't make content on parkour, I don't make content on flips, I just have done them throughout my life. So I figured I'd make a tutorial. Even though I didn't land at the flips, what I was describing about them is the position of the body. I'm just not quite in practice with a side flip. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, if you want to stick around for clothing, that'd be awesome. It'll come when it comes. It will come. It's going to be amazing for myself and everybody else. I'm excited for it because I do modifications within my own clothing that I purchase to just allow my body to function, and all that's within my free content. Everything that I do personally, I think pretty much everything that I do, I've shared freely within my content for anyone else to also do. So, yeah, if you'd like to go check that out, and again, nothing but a pair of scissors, and you can allow the clothing that comes from the factory in positions that are imbalanced and uneven to just work for you rather than you working around it. So anyway, yes, internal rotation. Yeah, I've also been kind of pushing it the past few days. I've been making videos on like my shoelacing technique, and I've been kind of wrenching on my ankles to get the point across of the positioning of internal rotation. And so, yeah, those flips went how those flips went. But this is still great tutorial, great information in it, out of just, again, truth of the universal positioning of the body. And then really the flip's just about practicing it. It's about being like in practice, right? Because something like a flip, it is something that you kind of will like lose touch with over time if you're not doing them, and then you just like, once you do a few of them, you know, muscle memory will bring it back. So yes. Anyway, yeah, I kind of want to land one, and maybe I should, because I can do these well. Like I was mentioning though, getting my entire body back into its natural positioning after 24 years of it being within clothing that's altering it. I've never done a side flip with my body in the position it's in. That's true. And so it just feels different, right? More mobility within my hip flexors than I've ever had. My shoulders are more even than they've ever been. And so even that, like throwing the side flip from an external rotation on the right side from tying shoes unevenly for so long, reaching for that side flip, now this right side has so much more internal rotation that I can reach higher. A lot of it feels a lot different. So I just want to take care of my body, but I know that I could land one. It's not about like proving that, but we'll go one more. A big thing's the sun. It's also shadowy. When you're going upside down, that's a big thing on the eyes, because it kind of disorients you. But maybe I'll do one in like the shade right here. All right, I just want to get a good visual too, so for like showing what it actually looks like to land one well. All right, here we go. All right, it's closer. I landed in like a b-boy stance after that roll. That's what I'm gonna do. Thank you for sticking around through this very unconventional tutorial. Again, the information's still there. My examples of me physically, personally doing the flips weren't quite like the best flip example. But anyway, thank you.